Welcome. We have another Techstination interview. I'm Fred Fishkin, and we're talking about some tech to make gardening a little easier. Joining us are founder and CEO Rick Goren and operations manager Alexander Perry from a company called RotoShovel. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, tell us, Rick, to start with, what this company is all about.
The RotoShovel is an innovative company that uses an electric shovel to do gardening. And so we're building a brand, and we're scaling and getting into some of the biggest retailers in the world, which has always been a dream and a vision of mine. I've helped other people make $1 billion and figured I could try to do it myself.
That's really interesting. Well, a lot of companies worry about digging a hole, but that's your business, right?
Yeah.
So tell us how this works, what the RotoShovel does for people.
The RotoShovel is a auger built onto an electric drill motor with a battery pack. So it's pretty simple to put together. It has a built-on shovel that keeps it stable while you're digging in the earth. And as you turn it on, it drills right into the ground for your bulbs, plants, flowers, bushes, small post holes.
And how big of a hole does it dig? What's the diameter?
The RotoShovel can dig a 3-inch diameter and 7 inches deep. And then of course you can ream out a hole as you keep drilling. You can dig as big a hole as you want to dig for a larger bush or a base of a tree, a mailbox. It's a pretty strong tool. It's got a lot of torque, but the torque doesn't go into your hand because the shovel holds it into the earth. So it's really a torqueless digging tool, unlike a drill with an auger in it, which will tear your hand up in your wrist. There's zero torque as you drill this into the earth.
How did this come about?
I went outside one night to put in some audio speakers and an audio subwoofer. I'm in the audio video industry, and I went in the garage to look at the shovels. I picked up a post hole digger, put my gloves on, and there was a mortar bit hanging on the wall next to a shovel. And I thought, gosh, maybe someone already has put a drill bit into a shovel. And I thought, I'll just rent an electric shovel. I said it out loud. And as soon as I said the word electric shovel, it was that aha moment, because I didn't think it existed, or I would have already had one in the garage with a pile of shovels and rakes and other power tools that were sitting there. And so I got online and looked real quick, and I got very excited, started doing drawings and cutting out pictures of what I thought the electric shovel would look like. And all weekend I did research, and on that Monday morning I called 2 attorneys, and I had them do patentability searches, and they both came back and said it's positive. You can get the patent on this. So we applied for the patent and started prototyping, and I have an old prototype. These were some of the first prototypes that we built with very crude, but they seem to work. And then we got to this version, and then eventually got to the real RotoShovel. And so I had with the technology company I own, I had Alexander and a boy named Patrick. They're both prodigies. They're both very, very high level thinkers, and they helped me navigate through what it would take to build this and scale it. And we built prototypes and got it into manufacturing.
Alexander, maybe you can tackle this. What were some of the toughest challenges in building something like this that would work, the engineering challenge?
Okay, well, there are 2 directions I want to take with this. The product has been in development for about 2.5 years, I'd say. We worked on this first product, and we have, half a dozen different prototypes we went through to refine it and get it to the quality standards that we really wanted. Some of the biggest things to tackle were the electronics, getting the electronics to be stable. We've had 0 of these come back faulty. And that's about getting the quality components in the supply chain, making sure that the final product is something stable, even as a power tool, which is going to be outside. It's going to get wet. It's going to get dirty. That's another engineering challenge, is the power button and the chuck. They all have to be able to take getting dirty out in the garden and still function properly. Another design challenge would probably be
We had to make a shield so you couldn't get your hand in it.
this portion right here, a safety sort of challenge, because there's a lot of liabilities when you have a giant spinning auger and you want to make sure that the product is as safe as possible. We wanted this to be a product that anyone can pick up and use. As long as you're not a child, you should be able to harness it and it should be able to make your digging easier.
How long is the battery life? How much digging can you do with this on a charge?
It typically lasts about 2 hours. If you're working in extremely hard soil, maybe an hour and a half. Fortunately, if you get a second battery as spare, then it only takes an hour and a half to charge. So by the time one's done charging and the other one's used up, you can swap them and you can use it continuously. That was a very intentional engineering decision to make sure you could get the most use case out of your RotoShovel.
I guess gardeners would also want to know how you deal with the unknowns, what's below the surface there, when you hit rocks or roots, things like that. How does the RotoShovel deal with that?
We put a safety feature in, so when it hits a rock or a root, it automatically shuts off at a certain level of torque so that you can't burn up the motor. And the LED will flash if you hit a rock or root and it gets stuck. And it just shuts down for about 1 to 2 seconds. And as soon as you release the trigger, it'll start right back up.
And it comes packed in a really nice case as well. I'll let you show us that for those
Yeah, it
people who
comes
are
back
watching
with
this.
A handy carry case. So as you, and all the pieces fit nice and neat inside. And you can put spare battery, of course, in, and those are all the parts that it come with. But it takes less than a minute to assemble, and everybody seems to really love the product because it just works. And there's nothing else in that space. No one has ever invented an electric shovel.
And the pricing and availability?
The retail price map is $139.95, and we have plenty in stock.
Where can people find you?
You can find us at online at Lowe's.com, HomeDepot.com, Costco.com, Spreetel, the Grommet on the East Coast, and some of the bigger hardware stores are just picking it up, like Ace and True Value.
Well, congratulations on that success, but you haven't stopped there. What's next?
Alexander's going to tell you about the new product.
Yeah, some of the most important feedback we got from the original product is that people wanted to be able to stand up while they were digging and that they wanted to be able to dig bigger holes. It just doesn't quite cut it when you're putting in a fence for a post hole. You can do it, but we think that there's a better tool for the job, and that's why we started designing the RotoShovel Max. You can get an idea of the height here, but this is the full prototype of the product. We're having them rolling off the assembly line. We're getting in inventory expected in late June.
And obviously size is a big difference here, but tell us about the uses here. You mentioned like for fencing and things like that.
Post hole digging, landscaping is one of the big appeals. We show this to distributors and landscapers, people who work in the industry where they're digging every day, and they express a desire for this tool because it's better than a gas earth auger. It's better than the existing electric earth augers. It has our patented shovel, which means it puts less strain on a single person to dig. Typically, a gas-powered earth auger is very difficult to handle. Even for 2 people, you can only dig for maybe half an hour. And even in the manual, it says you got to wear vibration-resistant gloves or else you could damage your wrists and your arms with extended use. But with our patented shovel, this thing is designed to be handled by 1 person with ease. So you can dig all day. It's got a 4-hour battery life. So it's perfect for people who work in the landscaping profession.
Terrific. And we should point out, this is designed for use in dirt on earth, not for other things. It's not a jackhammer.
For soil, right? It's not for rocks, it's for soil. But it digs about 1.5 feet deep and 4-inch diameter, and it'll dig a hole really quick. You could dig a 1.5 foot by 4-inch diameter in about 20-30 seconds, which would take you a half hour with a post hole digger. or a shovel quite a bit of time. No blisters, easy to handle, no torque. Anyone can use the RotoShovel Max.
Terrific. And that's coming very soon. What's the pricing going to be on it?
$349 retail, and that should be handled at all the major chains also.
Well, I know someone like you is probably thinking ahead even more. So tell us what your plans are for this company, the direction. I mean, this is very different from the business that you started with, which was, the audio, I guess, in audio video space, right?
Yeah, I've been in the audio video space for about 24 years. And previous to that, I worked for a gentleman who invented OnStar technology. He called it METS, METS, Mobile Electronic Tracking Systems, which became OnStar. I worked for the gentleman in California who invented the digital communicator in an alarm system. In the old days, the alarm was a red and a green light and a key switch and one or two circuits. And he invented the microprocessor, which he put into an alarm control, and that became the technology we know today: front door, back door, side door, and that communicates to a central station so they can dispatch police. So I've been with some pioneers in different industries who've made over $1 billion in each industry, and I was always enthralled by their enthusiasm and their imagination, which became innovation that turned into reality and technology. And I have a best friend who also had a major success in technology and sold it for a couple $100 million. And I've just always been inspired to think a little bit out of the box. So we have many, many inventions on the table right now. I think the next one we're going to do will be a third RotoShovel, more of an industrial version that similar to this, but an industrial version that the landscaping industry can use. That'll be quicker, faster than anything they have, with less torque. But we're not going to stop there.
That's terrific. So for more information on all that you're doing, where's the best place for people to go?
RotoShovel.com.
RotoShovel.com. Great stuff. We really dig it.
We say drill it, dig it, scoop it, plant it.
Rick Goren and Alexander Perry, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cooking with the power of the sun. Hi, I'm Fred Fishkin, here to tell you about the latest innovation from my friend Patrick Sherwin and his great team at GoSun Stove. The GoSun Fusion has arrived using the company's tried and true reflectors and a solar vacuum tube to get you cooking without the mess of charcoal, heavy propane tanks, or smoke. A really bright idea. And with an optional solar panel and battery storage and the ability to plug in at home or on the road, you really can use the GoSun Fusion to cook anytime and anywhere, day or night, rain or shine. I love what Patrick and his team are doing, and so will you. Want to learn more? Head to gosun.co to check out all of the company's products and innovations, and use the code Techstination to save 10%. That's gosun.co.